Gotta start off by giving Matsumoto a round of applause for chapter 79 because this chapter had wild lore implications. We basically figured out that Kikoru is able to see her mother's ghost because she is using the number 4 suit, and her mother also did. So that let us know that Kafka can probably see the ghost of the Ryuni Shrine because the ghost of the Ryuni Shrine was a user of Kaiju number 8 in the past. But we'll talk about that in the video. Let's get into it. So, chapter 79 really starts off with that same dark tone that 78 ended off with. Kikoru is down bad at this point, and nobody on the defense force even thinks that Kikoru can beat Kaiju number 15. Number 15 takes its huge axe that we saw it build at the end of chapter 78 and swipes it at Kikoru. Kikoru uses her side thrusters to dodge again, but whenever she uses those side thrusters, number 15 is literally right where Kikoru is dodging to and says, "Too slow, little Kikoru," and blasts her with that hollow blast out of her face again. And from this point, dog, Kikoru is in catastrophic injury. We already had all of our injuries from last chapter, and now to compound with that, she has a right and left leg injury. She has fractures to her ribs and arms with hemorrhaging spreading. And now her suit is at the point where it's no longer even doing its job of protecting her in the proper manner. So everybody at the Defense Force headquarters is saying, hey, we need to send in emergency reinforcements so that we don't lose one of the brightest linchpins in our future of the Defense Force. And here is when Kikoru just shows you how hard-boiled she is, dog. Because she says, no, wait, please. Number 9 would not hesitate to attack our base if we let down our defenses. I'll beat this thing. I'm so close. And everybody's like, wait, so close to what? And at that point, we learn that Kikoru has climbed all the way up to 88% suit output percentage. And she says, it's just a little further and I'll be able to catch up. And at that moment, Itami immediately says, wait, is she seeing the ghost of Hikari? And after Keiji Itami's reaction, that's when we really get into the lore of chapter 79. We see a flashback between Narumi and Kikoru back when they were training before, with Kikoru asking Narumi, yes, I can sometimes see my mother while equipped with numbers weapon 4. Narumi responds back, a ghost. It's a rare phenomena that happens when you wear a predecessor's numbers weapon. Captain Akutsu of the Northern Division reported about it in the past. The reason behind it is still being explored, but it's understood to be the memory of the identified kaiju being used in the core. This was groundbreaking kaiju news on so many different fronts. Kikoru's catching up to her mother quite literally while watching her in front of her face, right? The fact that Kikoru is so close to her mother's movements that she's almost fingertips away and she's at 88% means that her mother was probably around this same exact percentage whenever she got taken out by Kaiju number 6. So my guess is that her mother got all the way up to around 90 to 93% somewhere output. And that's what Kikoru is going to get to be able to keep up with 15. She's basically evolving while she's fighting. Almost the same exact way as if you watch or read One Punch Man, these recent chapters where Garou was fighting Saitama and both of them were leveling up, but Saitama was just leveling up at an exponential rate. That's exactly what's happening to Kikoru right now. She's leveling up exponentially while fighting Kaiju number 15. But it almost makes sense because, you know, iron sharpens iron, right? If Kikoru's fighting a stronger version of herself, / she's also seeing a stronger version of someone using the number 4 suit, it's almost like she's just chasing after that. She's gonna naturally get better. So, cool on that front of Kikoru's gonna keep on chasing Hikari and not only chase after Hikari, but surpass her, and we're gonna see her. Her mother's movements are gonna get to the point where they won't be faster than Kikoru's movements. But the two other aspects that are crazy to me that we have to think about is, first off, this story has a whole new light now. A whole new light. And that's because we basically figured out that these kaiju are all sentient. They hold core memories, right? They are not just some wild beast monsters just running around and destroying stuff. Which means that this story changes so much. If you go all the way back to even chapter 1 and look at Kaiju number 9, Are any of Kaiju number nine's actions really that bad? Kaiju number 9 realistically is just going out and trying to get his dogs back. He's trying to get all the weapons that humans are literally taking the strongest weapons from Kaiju, turning them into weapons for the human side, and then using them against the Kaiju. Who wouldn't go back and get their dogs back? He literally just getting his dogs back, man. It's hard to say that Kaiju number 9 is a bad guy when you know that all these Kaiju are sentient. These Kaiju are holding core memories, and if you even want to argue that I'm crazy for saying that they're sentient, Kikoru goes on to say that just by the way that number 4 is looking at her, just by the way it's looking at her, she can tell how it's feeling. She's obviously forming some sort of bond with this Kaiju, and Kikoru doesn't even know it yet. Kikoru hates Kaiju. It killed her mother, it killed her father, but she hates Kaiju, and she's forming a relationship with number 4 and doesn't even know it. That's wild, man. And I feel like it goes to show you that by the end of the story, I think that that's going to be one of the biggest moral talking grounds in this story. Who's right and who's wrong? And is either side even wrong if you look at it from a human perspective? Are humans wrong for fighting against Kaiju the way that we are? And if you look at it from a Kaiju perspective, are they wrong for coming and always wreaking havoc on the humans? They have to have a reason for doing what they're doing. Why does Kaiju number 9 want to bring about the era of Kaiju? I don't know. But this chapter really expanded upon that lore, and it just really made me start questioning who is in the right or wrong, and how much information does the Defense Force actually know that might be getting withheld from us. Who knows? I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist, but I think that we're going to hit a lot of twists and turns here coming up in the future. And then the other aspect is exactly what we talked about in the intro part of the video. This lets us know that Kafka probably saw that ghost samurai at the Ryuni shrine with Oshina, because the ghost samurai was a past Kaiju number 8 user. There's a couple questions that come from that. Was this ghost samurai the last person that used Kaiju number 8, and Kaiju number 8's been searching for somebody compatible ever since? That's exactly why I went up to Kafka and said, I found you, after Kafka did whatever to make sure that Kaiju number 8 knew to come find him, right? So that's one of my questions that comes from it. And then the other question is, why has Kafka only seen this ghost one time? Kikoru seems to just keep on seeing the ghost of her mother. She's seen the ghost of her mother multiple times, but Kafka's only had this one interaction with that ghost samurai. And Kafka's been Kaiju number 8 way longer than Kikoru's been able to use the number 4 weapon suit. So does it have some sort of correlation with your camaraderie with the Kaiju in a way? You know what I mean? Technically, the number 4 suit felt some sort of camaraderie with Hikari Shinomiya, and we even know that because whenever we saw the number 4 for the first time this chapter, and whenever we saw number 4 for the first time, it was giving Kikoru almost like this unnerving, this disappointed type look. And Kikoru looked over at the Kaiju and said, I can just tell by the way that Kaiju number 4 is looking at me that it's saying that it could do way better of a job or have a way easier job if it was working with my mother. And it was funny to see that, but it also lets us know that number 4 does have a personality of its own, and it does view Hikari in a certain way with its core memories. So maybe the reason that Kikoru can see those ghost visions a lot more is because she does have that camaraderie with Hikari being her mother. So number 4 already feels some sort of bond with Kikoru in a way, if that makes sense. I mean, Kafka is fresh to Kaiju number 8. Even if Kaiju number 8 did find Kafka for a certain reason, it doesn't necessarily mean that Kafka wanted Kaiju number 8, so the relationship might not be the same as what Kikoru naturally feels with number 4 and her mother. So, I don't know. Just some stuff that come about though, but no, this was a dope chapter, man. This was a dope chapter, and I hope that we keep getting more lore like this. This really helps the story open up more and helps us start asking a bunch more questions. I'm really probably going to make another video on that second talking point that I was making. This story could just be viewed in a whole new light now with this new lore. So, yeah, man. Arigato mas for watching this video as per usual. Go watch my last Kaiju video. I dropped some dope theory thinking in there, man. Like, I really be reading this series and thinking for y'all. Not a lot of people doing that. But nah, like I said, I appreciate y'all. I'll probably be dropping some more kaiju content pretty soon here after this chapter. So, like I said, come back to the channel. We appreciate y'all. I'll talk to you later, and peace.